All right, so I'm just going to go over really quickly my Rocket Elevators commercial controller for both Golang and also C Sharp. So we'll start with Golang first. We have the battery structure here, which is going to go ahead and create all the columns and then also the floor request buttons for however many floors there are. So we have the instantiation of the new battery, which controls all of the columns. And then depending on if there are basements or not, it'll create a section of column just for that. We have the basement column creation here, as well as the regular column creations here, and that will also divvy up how many floors are served for each column, depending on how many floors total. And then we have the floor request buttons here. That's going to create the amount of floor request buttons. We also have the basement floor request buttons, because those are going to be separate, technically negative values since it's underground. Now we also have finding the best column and then assigning the elevator for when a user presses the lobby. So the best column is going to be right here, and the assigning the elevator is going to start with adding the new request, and then it's going to move the elevator and then bring the next new request to whatever the floor is that the user would like to go to, and then it'll move that elevator. So we also have the column here. So this also will deal with instantiating the, I'm sorry, not instantiating. This will have the list of elevators per each column, as well as the regular call buttons for them. We have the regular call buttons here, and we also have the creation of the elevators here. So whenever a user requests or presses the button, a request elevator is going to be activated based on the user's position and the direction they want to go. We also have the find elevator function here, which is going to determine based on where the elevator is, the direction it's going, if it's idle or not, etc., which elevator is better to send. And then this last function is just going to determine whether the elevator is actually the best one to send or not. Lastly, we have the elevator. This is the actual creation of the, or instantiation of the elevator, as well as the move function. So this is what's going to actually cause the elevator to go to whatever floor is in the floor request list based on the button presses. And then it'll move there, operate the doors, and then remove that floor from the floor request list right here. After that, we have the sort floor list, which is used in the previous move, and we also have the operate doors, also used in the previous move. We had a separate function which was used to determine if the floor list, if the floor request list actually contains certain requested floors or not. And then over in C Sharp, we basically have the same thing. We have the battery here. It's going to be the same thing, dealing with the columns and the floor request buttons, just in the C Sharp language right here. Honestly, none of the logic has changed. It's all the same thing. The basement's columns created here, the regular columns are here, and then the floor request buttons here. So after that, you have the column with all of the elevators and the elevator list, as well as the call button list. You have the creation of the elevators and the call buttons here, the method for how the elevator is actually requested, and then, of course, the finding if the elevator is better or not, as well as the checking if it's better or not. Lastly, we have the elevator, which deals with all the individual requests, the floor request list and the completed request list. You have the move function here. The operate door and sort floor list, both used in that, and the add new request here. And that's all there is to it.